After 2 years of silence, Local 58 is back. Not just with another video, but a fully realized ARG complete with mysterious phone numbers and broken web pages, all repeating the same cryptic message. Someone, or something, wants us dead. Don't look up. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Welcome to Theory, the channel that made the jump to digital a decade before it was required by shady government organizations. A quick, gentle reminder here at the top of the episode that Film Theory merch is still available, including the nice warm Film Theory cap with rubber embossed logo and secret phrase on the underside. It works great for keeping you snugly or hiding your eyes from the blinding glory of our lunar gods above. There's also this asymmetric hoodie that was designed by a member of the theorist community. Links are right below this video. Order now and ensure that you get it in time for the holidays. And with that out of the way, let's get back to the theory. Today, we're returning to the terrifying world of Local 58, the YouTube series credited for the creation of the analog horror genre. For those who don't know, analog horror is classified as a type of content that uses technology like VHS tapes, radio, and old television broadcasts to tell cryptic stories. In the case of Local 58, each upload is a clip from a local access channel. You know, the type that you'd see in any small town around the US. City council meetings, old black and white movies that have fallen into the public domain, crudely made home videos, relaxing music playing against a generic schedule of upcoming programming. It sounds like the makings of the most boring thing ever. Each one of Local 58's uploads comes with a horrifying twist. A shadowy figure here, dead body there, diagram showing us how we can lie in our yards to die, sinister threats warning us against looking at the sky. Now, back in 2019, I watched all these videos and came to the conclusion that the overarching story had to do with aliens from the moon, intercepting our television broadcast frequencies in order to get people to kill themselves and each other. At the time, I thought it was a pretty solid conclusion, but now, with these new uploads, I'm having second thoughts. And no, it's not just because alien theory. It's mostly the reason, but not all. That we have to start with the latest upload, Digital Transition. The video starts with an old black and white television show which we can figure out is a 1959 anthology series named One Step Beyond, series in the vein of The Twilight Zone and The Outer Limits, where each episode tells its own spooky paranormal story. Once the show's over, we're brought back to our usual programming schedule and we're told that Local 58 will be switching from an analog to a analog signal in accordance with FCG guidelines. So, a few things to pick apart here. First, what does it mean to switch from an analog to digital signal? Well, analog television signals are transmitted through airwaves over a set frequency. This makes them susceptible to interference. And the further away you are from the source, the more likely you're going to get interference, static, or ghosting. Now, last time we covered Local 58, we concluded that whoever was trying to communicate with us, they were hijacking that exact signal. We even found the frequency that they were broadcasting at. Digital signals don't have that problem. They're packets of compressed data, ones and zeros, which can only be received and read by your appliance in one way. There's no half signals or interference. It's either working or it's not, as the packet of data is one secure thing. If it's interfered with, you just don't get a signal. In terms of Local 58, what this transition is doing, detail here is the FCG. Now, I looked into it and there are a couple of FCGs out in the real world. The Foreign Clearance Guide for the Department of Defense, and this one, which provides financial, regulatory, and technological support. But their logos don't seem to match up with the one that we see. Fortunately, the creator Chris Straub graced us with an answer to this on Twitter. FCG is the Federal Communications Governance. Basically, his in-universe version of the real world's FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. We see in the video that the change is mandated to happen by 13th, 2021. Good job, Chris. You did your homework. But just as the clock strikes midnight and the transition is happening, we see something resisting. Faint messages in the background that appear to be trying to break through the conversion. It's a bit hard to read, but with some effort you can make it out. that appears in pretty much every upload of Local 58 leads me to believe that it is, in fact, just the moon talking to us. The moon does indeed come through our window every night. It has always been up there for us, and humanity used to watch it and felt marveled by it. But now we have ourselves television, thought from little pieces, little packets of data put together to show on a screen, which pulls us away from being in awe of nature, from worshiping things like the stars and the moon. Hence why the moon feels betrayed. Seem to be worshippers of whatever the moon is. Notice that it says signs and wonders flood our little sky, implying that these people are here on Earth. If the moon is silenced, or in their words, if his throat is cut, then these individuals will take up his message, hence the 1,000 mouths that are being referenced. And again, we actually see a bit of this in sky watching. When the moon reappears at the end of the video, a man walks into frame raising his hands and the words rejoice appear on screen. He's welcoming the moon's arrival. Just makes me wonder, no stars above, only eyes waiting to open. Are these worshippers right? Is everything in the night sky alive? I mean, if the moon is, why not everything else? But this is only scratching the surface of what this video brings to the table. You see, digital transition also gives us a phone number to call. The phone number is certainly creepy, but not altogether helpful. Calling it plays some distorted audio, which contains Morse code. When decrypted, it spells out there are other receivers, just like the end of the video. If you send that number a text message, you're gonna get the same result. A reply saying, try to communicate with us through other receivers, other devices. They've already proven that they can do it with phones, but what else? Well, below that phone number, as well as in the text crawl at the start of the video, is a website. It's actually a really clever move. The video is all about switching from analog to digital, and now there's a digital element to the story. So bravo, Local 58, well thought out. So we checked it out, and sure enough, there was in fact an ARG lying in wait for us, though we were actually a little bit late to the party. Apparently this one's been going on for months, and the latest video was just drawing in all us stragglers that hadn't been following the series or its creator on Twitter. Better late than never, I suppose. Too bad, because of the second phrase, beyond a certain point, watching is no different from doing. This planet is too far gone in the eyes of whoever is leaving us these messages. As such, the fact that you're just sitting by and watching it happen makes you just as responsible as everyone else. So, is that it? It's just an environmental message? Yeah, I think. The pieces largely fit, but I do think there's more to it from a lore perspective. Let's stop just looking at Earth from what we understand and instead start looking at the idea of killing the planet more literally. If the moon and stars in Local 58 are actual entities, or home to greater cosmic beings, then who's to say that the Earth isn't also one of those things? A cosmic entity that we, the parasites, are actually killing. And that is where our third phrase comes in. A predator cannot differentiate prey from accomplice. I spoke earlier about the moon worshippers, but who are they? I believe that they're an organization called the Thought Research Initiative. In canon, they were the ones that made the 1983 video Real Sleep. Now, why them? Well, their logo appears to be on the latest webpage from 2021. Though it is super distorted, you can definitely make out the slanted T and even parts of the R and the I. Also, according to the Game Detectives Wiki, which has been tracking changes to the Local 58 website, when the 404 page was originally discovered on September 13th, there was a nearly invisible element at the bottom of the page that read, Copyright 2021, Thought Research Initiative, LLC. So, it would seem like they're trying to help the moon accomplish its goal of wiping out the parasites, stopping this environmental destruction by eliminating us. But there's one problem with that. They too are gonna get caught in the crossfire. A predator cannot differentiate prey from accomplice. This organization or cult or whatever you want to call them may be helping. They may believe that by doing so they're gonna be spared to care. The predator cannot differentiate the prey. So there you have it, friends, what I've been able to figure out so far when it comes to Local 58. The moon, or a giant monster in it, is mad about being ignored, and a series of cultists on Earth are hijacking broadcasts to fight on its behalf. But clearly there's more here. A huge shout out to the Local 58 subreddit, as well as to the Game Detectives Wiki, who've been doing a great job of tracking all the changes to this site, allowing me to catch up on things that happened long before I was made aware of these websites even existing. And sure, I've tried to piece together a narrative based on the information that we have now, but there are still a few things that may change that conclusion. For example, there's that big colorful image on the main webpage, which some members of the Reddit community have theorized might reveal more information if you use an analog television system as a monitor. The compressed TRI logo feels like there's gotta be something there. I also wonder if we're fully finished with the phone audio. Sure, it's kinda solved because we did the Morse code, but there's also some muffled audio near the end that nobody seems to have gotten anything out of. User Shades10318 actually called out that it sounds similar to an old radio scrambled signal, and reminds us that the article about the low band filter might be a clue to solving it. This is known as voice inversion scrambling, but without an old school radio with a sideband frequency setting, it doesn't seem totally possible to solve it digitally, at least not that I could find with the limited amount of time that I had to research this one. In short, if any of this is interesting to you, I highly encourage you to go over to the Local 58 subreddit as well as the Game Theorist subreddit to join in and let me know if you find anything new. This franchise is far from over, and